Hi, Jeremy here with Mammoth Books. I am going to read you guys a short story. It's a great short story. I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's very short. It's called Am Bonaro by an author named John Niendorff. And this comes out of the compilation, The Mammoth Book of Extreme Fantasy, edited by Mike Ashley. I've already mentioned this book once before in one of my other videos. This is one of the best short stories in this collection, and I just think it'd be fun to share it with you guys. The only bad thing is, since we're outside, you'll hear cars driving by from time to time. I apologize. I'm hoping that's not going to be too problematic. We'll see how this goes. Only the ticket agent saw the old man as he was thrown from the motionless boxcar and tumbled crazily to the gravel-covered earth. The train hissed and wheezed for a moment as it gathered energy for movement, then began crawling away from the station. Slamming the lid of his cash box closed, the agent ran from the tiny office to trackside where the old man lay. He paused for a long breath, then called, "You okay, mister?" The old man stirred noiselessly. Dressed in faded coveralls, he had long white hair that fell in tangled disarray to his rounded shoulders. His matted, filth-encrusted beard was the same white as his hair. "You need any help, old man?" Painfully, slowly, the old man rose to his knees, pushed his arms hard against the ground, and shoved his body erect. The agent took a startled step backward when he saw the face, the most pitiful, wretched face he had ever seen. Brittle skin like old parchment was shrunk against the bone and eroded with deep wrinkles, and eyes that were hollow, empty, and desperately sad. Across the front of his shirt, a crudely lettered cardboard sign, pinned carelessly onto the wrinkled cloth, proclaimed, "I am Bonaro." "Bonaro? That your name?" The old man gave no sign of recognition, for he was incapable of even that elementary act. He had only begun to dig deep into his trouser pocket, bringing out a soiled yellow mass that he gripped tightly in one withered hand. It was a sponge. He held it out. The agent tentatively reached out his hand. "For me?" Bonaro said nothing. He held out the sponge until he was certain that the agent did not understand. Then he drew it back and let the hand fall limply. "Bonaro, I guess that's your name. If you'd like some coffee, I got a pot inside. Otherwise, you'd better beat it." Bonaro's face remained immobile. Not even his empty eyes altered their fixed stare. "Look, friend, if you don't need help, at least stay away from the tracks. They're dangerous. You understand that? Dangerous. You'll get hurt if you fool around here without knowing what you're doing." Bonaro swayed uncertainly, as though he were going to fall, and then he held out the sponge once more, hesitated a moment, and then began to pad silently away from the tracks, holding the dirty sponge in front of him as if it were a guidepost by which he steered. Old Bonaro was not aware of having been thrown from the train. He was not aware of having met the ticket agent. He only knew that he was somewhere, and that which he sought might be anywhere. He had been 5 years old when he had first wished himself different. The place he had lived was high above the asphalt streets, a slim wooden shambles squeezed between rotting tenements. He had distant memories of a thing called father, a loud, dirty man who never shaved and snored raucously, and mother, a screaming, anxious assortment of abrupt nervous reactions like spank and slap and swear. Bonaro recalled being locked in a closet because he had cursed at his father, a closet that was small and dark, where spiders crawled and tickled his skin, and the groans of the tired walls were magnified until they filled his head with droning, foreign speech. He sat there for longer than he knew, without moving, until he saw a tiny sliver of dusty light along the bottom of the closet door, and crouching down with his ear close to the splintery floor, he could almost see outside. Young Bonaro knew that he could never escape through that crack beneath the door. A piece of paper could. A coat hanger would slide there easily. A slippery gob of mud could do it. So Bonaro wished himself a slippery gob of mud, spreading himself out thinly on the floor. It was difficult at first, forcing each particle of himself through that slim slit. But finally, he oozed the last drop out of the closet and wished himself Bonaro. His father had beaten him for getting out. After carefully examining the lock and the closet door, he had beaten young Bonaro with a long board until the boy was strangling in his own blood. The old man thought at that time as he walked away from the train station and into the wide main street. When did he next wish? When he had been about 12. Bad father had taught him to steal, while bad mother laughed. Stealing was easy for Bonaro. When he learned how to run away and hide, he was never caught until that time when he was 12 and stole the man's wallet. He had run for many blocks until his body refused to carry him further, and he collapsed into a pile of rags and trash. Seeing the walls high around him meant nothing until he saw the men coming after him. Then jerking his body upright, he flung his eyes violently in every direction where escape might lie. A high brick wall, a building, a wooden fence twice his own height. There was no way out, and the men were after him. So Bonaro did the only thing he could. He wished himself part of that pile of trash, and they never found him. The train station was far behind. "Excuse me, fella, you okay?" To Bonaro, the policeman was only another form to which he held out the sponge. "You can't talk, that it?" The policeman pulled a notepad and pencil from the pocket of his uniform. "Maybe you need help. Can you write?" The hand in which Bonaro held the sponge began to quiver. "Now look here, old man. I guess I don't understand, but you darn near caused about 5 accidents by walking across that street without watching the traffic. You be careful from now on." Then, as the policeman went away, Bonaro's thoughts went back. On his 12th birthday, he had seen the first words, "socially incorrigible," on his progress chart in the juvenile home. He learned that his father had died. His mother was arrested for a reason he didn't understand. But Bonaro never cared, because he could always wish. Hangpants the hoodlum had thought Bonaro was an easy mark, one fist to put him senseless on the sidewalk. When Bonaro had wished himself a big rock, Hangpants left it with a broken hand, and that was funny. Bonaro had killed a priest in front of 100 worshippers and laughed as he wished himself a gleaming golden cross. "I am Bonaro." The sign flapped on his chest as he stepped into the diner and sat down on a tiny stool. The young waitress looked suspiciously at his bedraggled appearance. "Help you, sir?" She suddenly jerked her body back as he thrust out the moldy sponge. Bonaro's memories were vague in his head as he thought of the many, many fears of being alive. A dark night and a dog's bark, fear. Wish to be a lion. Steep stairs, slippery, fear. Wish to be a rubber ball. Many, so many each day, uncounted when life was steal and kill and wish to escape. "Help you, sir?" the waitress asked again. They had come after him that final night with torches, because they knew it was Bonaro who had killed their little girl. Bonaro stood tall, boldly, on the wide concrete highway as they came for him. He saw the mob crunching closer, their kerosene torches flaming and flashing in the darkness. They marched across the field onto the road where he stood. What could he become, to hide in this barren hardness? One torch wiggled and sailed like an exploding star above the mob, arcing high towards Bonaro. He saw it streak down and felt it hitting his chest, the pungent odor of the kerosene filling his head as flame attacked his shirt. His body was heat and fire as he pounded open palms against the growing horror of the burning flesh as his clothes ignited. "Water! "Water," said his mind as he dissolved himself into a puddle. Seeping away from the scorching clothes gathered in a pool on the road, he felt cool as a tender breeze caressed his dampness, and he waited until he felt the warmth that meant sun. Sun meant time passed. The mob would be gone, and he wished himself Bonaro again. Water, a puddle in the road, is drawn into the wind, evaporates. Bonaro almost screamed, knowing why he had felt the coolness. What part had gone away with the wind? Eyes? Arms? No. His body was whole, but something was gone. Gone in water which goes on the wind, then to clouds, to rain. Rain comes back. Water is never gone, just lost. He would find it, searching many, many more years until his body died. He would recognize that water because it was part of him. He would know. The waitress set up a glass. "Help you, sir?" Bonaro held out the sponge hopefully. So that was the story Bonaro by John Niendorff. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Pretty awesome little story. Makes you think, right? Anyways, leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hopefully this is going to work out. I'm not sure how the audio is going to be. But let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments, and we'll see if I can do more of this in the future.